Cheers, everybody. We are back for another edition of Bourbon on a Budget. Myself, TJ Pittenger, Ben Cock, Brendan Sonnone, and from the first part of our episode, Elliott Finebloom. We are reviewing something special tonight, and I'll let Brendan jump right into what we're reviewing.
All right, so what we got here, I'm holding it up if you guys can see it, assuming you can see it. And if you're just listening to this, obviously you can't see it. This is Russell's Reserve Single Barrel. So our very first episode ever, we reviewed the Russell's Reserve 10-year. This is a single barrel offering of it. It is going to be proofed up a little bit at 110 proof as opposed to, 90 proof is the original, Ben? That sound right to you? 90?
That is correct.
All right, so this is a Wild Turkey offering. The difference here, other than proof, there is no age statement on this Russell's Reserve single barrel. It is a single barrel, as I've said like 3 or 4 times already. So it's not blended. It is being pulled from a singular barrel. It does have the Wild Turkey classic. It's a barrel, but there's only one of them, Ben. It's the classic Wild Turkey mash bill of 75% corn, 13% rye. They say that's a high rye. And 12% malted barley. The MSRP on these is about $55. Now, I have a store pick from Market Square Liquors from Rickhouse B, as in Brendan, and that's considered like one of the money Rickhouses, and this was about $65. Elliott, where is yours from? You have it from Market Square Liquors up in Tallahassee as well, right?
Yeah, I got Warehouse S and the special Floor 5.
Ooh, okay. Ooh, a good old
Warehouse
Floor 5.
S as in Warehouse Special. I like it. Very nice.
Oh, and then B and then S, and that's my initials. Just BS.
Let's not make it about
It's
you.
more like S and B, son of a,
Brendan dropped a pretty big bomb on last week's show, and I couldn't find it when I was editing. So for those that had to hear that, I'm sorry.
You let it go in there unedited? All
Wasn't
right.
it in the review? Well, I texted you at like 9:30 yesterday, and you were already asleep. So typical night for you. All right, real quick refresher on our rating system that Brendan Sonnone, our very own, came up with. We give a total of 10 points here, 2 points for the nose, 4 points for the taste, 1 point for the finish, 1 point for how cohesive and complex it is. And then based on that 8-point score, we give or assign up to 2 points worth of value. So 2, 4, 1, 1, 2. We do quarter points here. So kind of got a month or two into this thing, and Ben said, I'm not doing half points, I'm doing quarter points. So anywhere between a quarter point and 2 points for the nose. I've been yakking. Ben, start us off. Have you been nosing this thing?
Oh yeah. A lot. I'm getting a lot of vanilla off this, which is a little unique for Wild Turkey. I usually get a lot of like spice, cinnamon, clove on the nose, but this is like a more mellow, high vanilla, which is interesting, and I like it.
Brendan, what are you picking up?
Super vanilla as well. I'm totally with Ben on this. Vanilla is the predominant note on the nose. Very characteristic, a high characteristic of vanilla there. Oaky, spicy as well. Like it still has that Wild Turkey spice, but just a little bit less than normal. Also getting some citrusy, like orange peel kind of notes as well. And it smells very like char heavy. I think it's a heavy char barrel that they use. They use the alligator char, and that's coming across the nose, so you could actually smell smoke coming out of that.
Yeah, definitely picks up more of the wood notes and the smokiness with it. Elliott, what are you picking up on the nose here? Anything different than these two guys have said?
Is it not specific enough to say I smell bourbon?
You got it.
No,
you got it.
I think mine's more citrusy than your guys. I was glad to hear Brendan say that because I was picking up a lot more citrus than I was the vanilla. And like I said, I have a different barrel, so, that could make sense. But, yeah, I definitely got the citrus.
Ben, we'll go back up with you. Start us off with taste. What are you picking up on some of these tasting notes here? First of all, before you even do go, I was expecting Russell's Reserve here, and that extra 20 proof just hit me right in the face.
Yeah.
And, smacked me down. So, obviously, that's the first thing you pick up on the single barrel.
It drinks hot.
Yeah.
So I'm going back and forth between the regular Russells and the single barrel, and I get a lot of citrus with the regular, like considerably more like lighter citrus notes, like you were saying. But the higher proof mellows out that citrus to me, and I get definitely a lot more vanilla. On the taste, though, taste is higher proof. Very nice. Hold on. I haven't really pay attention yet. Still a lot of vanilla. Which I'm okay with. I like a lot of vanilla, but it's just different than I was expecting. I was expecting way more spice on this, but it's just a smooth. I can't use the word smooth. It is just a delicate vanilla bomb. A little bit of spice, a little bit of pepper, but yeah, it's really, really vanilla. It is almost as vanilla as like the rare breed rye. Like the rare breed rye has a lot of vanilla too, and it's similar to that. So I may try some of that too.
The rare breed rye has way more spice. I wish we were in the same place tonight and I could try some of these other things that you have all lined up on your counter. But for those that didn't notice, I'm in a different location because my power's out at home. But Ben took all of the Wild Turkey products into the room, and I have none of them. So I'm drinking this. Thanks, Brendan.
Are we rolling this into a GoFundMe to get your electric bill paid?
My wife just texted me as we're on the air recording and said, "Hey, the lights are back on." And I was like, "Okay, great. I'm in the middle of a show. Like, I'll see you later." The first time Ellie and I tried to have a call, the Wi-Fi wasn't working, and this second time that Ellie and I are having a call, the lights don't work, and so Elliot just probably thinks like I live under the bridge here in Land O'Lakes.
Very embarrassing for you, TJ.
Whatever. At least I'm drinking bourbon right now. Brendan, what are you picking up on the flavor?
I don't want to copy Ben, but I will. It is super vanilla heavy, which is really cool to me. Like that, it's 110 proof, and usually when you think of vanilla flavored or profiled bourbons, it's lower proof stuff, right? That's kind of where that vanilla kind of takes over. But this like shines through that proof, but also like very much so like the oakiness still from the nose, like that's like transferring over. A high amount of Ben reference what normally is with Wild Turkey profile, like the cinnamon, the baking spices and that kind of stuff, and like that I'm getting a lot on the flavor profile as well, and still citrus to me too, not as much as like maybe the Russell's Reserve where we were talking the 10-year we were talking about like lemon zest, but there is like that citrusy note that's coming through at the end on this as well.
The spice is definitely apparent. Elliot, you feeling anything? I'll let you go first. You don't have to copy them on the next one, but what are you thinking on the taste here?
Yeah, mine's spicy citrus for sure. I mean, it's hot for 110, but not in a bad way, I don't think. I mean, it's just got a lot of power and a lot of mouthfeel and a lot of flavor. I don't find it as nuanced in the sense of what I'm picking up as some other bourbons I love, but it's very enjoyable in the sense that, you know, you feel like you're drinking something. You know, there's some of those bourbons you drink and you get some taste, but it's thin. This is not a thin one.
Oh, this slaps you around a little bit for sure. It's
definitely
Yeah.
Not a bad way at all, but it's definitely heavy or thick or, you know, however you want to like kind of qualify that. That all goes into taste, right? Like it's not just all the flavor profile, but yeah, I get a ton of those spice notes that Brendan was talking about as well. Not in an unpleasant way, but we kind of crap on them for their high rye stuff that's like 13%, but I do get a lot of those things. So, all right, finish. Elliot, I'll start with you. So we'll snake it back. How do you think this bourbon finishes?
I'm big on finish. Like that's what puts a bourbon over the top for me is when you get that killer finish.
Yes.
I don't think this has a killer finish. I don't think it's a bad finish at all, but you know, I don't get like after I swallow like, oh hell, where was that coming from? You know, I didn't see that coming. I think it's pretty consistent with, you know, the for me, you know, the spiciness of it. You know, it's not overly developing into something else on the finish. So not bad at all, but not that killer finish that like really separates a great bourbon for me.
Brendan?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Elliot, and I think Elliot and Ben are going to become best friends because that's something that Ben values a ton too. Is the finish there? The hotness that we're talking about on the nose and even the palate, like that's where it kind of like it's complimentary the entire time, guys. But like that finish at the very end, it almost overtakes it. Where to me, it just becomes super spicy. Really get that Kentucky hug there too, all the way through. And that just dominates almost a little bit too much for me, where like that pleasant vanilla and the nice spiciness kind of just gets just nuked by that flaming hot finish for me.
Yeah, I think you guys are being a little overly critical on this one. In comparison to our normal bottles, this is like Elliot was saying, it's pretty heavy on the palate. That's nice. I like that. It fights me a little bit. I've said I enjoy bourbon that fights me a bit, right? High proof, great. But in comparison to the stuff that we've been reviewing historically at that $30 to $45 price point, this is not that. It's a little bit higher, I know. It's definitely superior to what we have been reviewing. And yeah, it definitely sits with me after 5-10 seconds. And I appreciate that. I like to know that I drank something.
Leave it to Ben to be the contrarian on this show.
Sorry.
All right, so let's get into rating it. Again, 2 points for nose, 4 for taste, 1 for finish, 1 for cohesion or cohesiveness and complexity, and then 2 points for value based on that. Elliott, it's your first time on the show. You can start us out. Out of 2, where are you going with this nose if you got to rate it?
I wasn't a big on the nose. Mine was obviously a little different than your all. I hate to get into fractions at this point. I think the scale should be 40 then if we're going to do quarter points. And then that way I can but I don't want to mess with Brendan's scheme since he came up with it.
Don't do it.
How about
Don't do it.
3/4 of a point? 0.75.
Ooh, a little low. Brendan.
I am going to go with 1.5 out of 2. I thought it was an above average nose for me. Actually a really good nose for me. Not elite, but still very good.
Ben?
Yeah, Brendan's correct here. Great nose. I enjoyed it. 1.5.
I'm going with a straight 1. I think it's just right down the middle, very average. So, yeah, it could be that I'm a little congested.
Beating it up. You're just beating it up.
All right, go the other way. Ben, start out with taste. Out of 4.
Ooh, I do like the taste. I drank it all. I'm going to have to go back to regular Russells. That's how much I enjoyed it. Man, this is a 3. I don't know if this is a 3.
I would say you gave Russell's 10-year a 3 on this, just for.
Then, yeah, I would say probably okay, 3.25 then. It's definitely better than Russell's 10-year, in my opinion. It's a 3.25.
Brendan?
Oh, Ben, I hate to agree with you. I had 3.25 as well.
Share notes. Yeah. I'll go with 3. I'll do the same thing. I hate you guys.
Whoa,
Elliott.
Elliott's 0.25.
Yeah, I'm lower. But I mean, this is the thing, like you were talking about, is like, what are you comparing it to? Like, yeah, you're comparing it to the 10-year Russell, and then, that's the thing. You bring all sorts of different comparisons, and then it's going to change down the road. All that being said, 2.75.
It's not bad. Still well above average.
Yeah.
I would have probably gone 3 if I didn't give the 10-year a 3. So Elliott's right. Like, it's hard to rate things standalone.
The previous reviews.
Well, this is bourbon on a budget, Elliott.
This isn't bourbon ball.
Hey, I'm not trying to say it was a fancy bourbon I'm going by. Just the ones you like, Just all the ones I like happen to be $1,000 a bottle. That's not
yeah. I wonder why I wonder why our wives hate us.
I'm joking.
Elliott, you can stick with it. We'll go back the other way. Finish out of 1 point. You were kind of critical of this finish. So was Brendan.
Yeah, if it's only out of 1 point, that makes it tough. I got to go 0.25.
Below average finish. I'll go 0.5. Kind of right down Main Street on this one for me. Brendan.
I went back and forth between 0.25 and half a point. I'm going to go with 1/4 of a point, 0.25 for me. That was a little bit too hot to enjoy.
Ben has only ever given one thing a 1 on this. I know he loved it. Ben, are you going to break that record and go 2?
No, I won't. 0.5. I enjoyed it. Like, it's good, but it's like it's all gas. I mean, it's definitely hot.
All gas, no brakes.
1 note.
So how cohesive and complex is it then, Ben?
0.75.
Where did it lack? Which one did you? So Elliott, our kind of running thing is we typically kind of go all or nothing here. If it's cohesive, it gets a half point. If it's complex, it gets a half point. Semi-complex, you can get a quarter, But Ben has obviously bucked the trend here. Where does it lack, Ben?
Complexity. It's certainly cohesive. And my bottle was, very vanilla throughout the entire process. And it wasn't as complex as I would have liked it to be. So I deducted a little bit off complexity. 0.75. That's how it goes.
I like it. Brendan.
Yeah. I hate agreeing with Ben as much as I am today.
You hate it, but you gotta.
0.75.
I'll go 0.5 here. I don't know that it's very complex at all, but it is very cohesive. So 0.5 for me. Elliott?
-5.
This one's tough because I didn't see a lot of complexity either, but I felt like it was it had such powerful taste that I kind of want to go 0.75, even
That's
though
right.
I don't,
Yeah, you do.
it had a lot more to it than a lot of other bourbons that I drink,
Mhm.
So
Oh.
it might not make sense, but I'm going to go 0.75.
Well within your rights.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah.
sense.
All right. So out of 8, before we get to the value portion, Ben has a 6 out of 8, Brendan with a 5.75 out of 8, myself with a 5.25, and Elliott with a 4.5. So we're all saying this is above average.
Yep.
Brendan, you said this was around a $50 bottle. Is that correct?
It's between, Georgia, you get it at 50, and Florida about 55. For the store pick offering, it's closer to $65 what we're drinking right now. Now, this is a single barrel like everything else in this line is. This was just a store pick. So $65 this one was.
Yeah.
So if you factor in between 55 to 65, based on if it's a store pick or not, around 110 proof. The Russell Single Barrel is not incredibly difficult to find. Obviously, store picks are a little more difficult, but not crazy. Like I could go to 3 places tonight and get some store picks of this. They're a product that gets picked up by a lot of stores a lot. So anyway, we typically rate our value on price, proof, and availability are some of the factors that we consider there. So, Ben, you were the highest tonight, 6 out of 8. Where's the value at for you?
I like the value. So we're looking at a $65 bottle, which is one of the more expensive bottles that we reviewed officially on this. So this is competing with Four Roses Select, It's competing with
1920, which we haven't reviewed.
certainly 1920.
Mm-hmm.
It's also competing with Rare Breed Rye, which is like another $65 bottle. And I think it competes pretty well. I think. So I'm going to go 1 1/4 here. What did I give Smoke Wagon?
1.5.
Ah, dang it.
I think
that
we
was a
all
$45 bottle.
Yeah, but we docked it because of availability.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go 1 1/2 here. I think you definitely get a better bottle. I've drank a lot worse bottles at $60, in my opinion. So 1 1/2.
Brendan.
This is the first time Ben and I are deviating. And real quick, while I'm taking time up here, TJ, and explaining my answer, is this the first time I'm looking through it? I think this is the first time that Ben's ever led on the total score before he got to value, like he's ever had the highest.
I think so. Yeah. I like this bottle.
He is smitten by it. So I think, when you're spending about $60 for a bottle, it should be a well above average bourbon, which I think this is where it is. It's not a special bourbon. It is a above average to good one at the price. So I'm going to say that the value to me is right about average is what I expect for the money I'm paying for. So I'm going with 1 out of 2.
I like that as well for the exact reason that you gave. Like it's above average, but again, the price between 1 and 1.25. But I'll just go with
Take
1.
into account though that you're getting 110 proof here, and there's definitely plenty of bottles out there that are like at 95 proof that are $60 too.
Dude,
For sure.
This is not a court of law.
Well, those would probably be below average values though too, if we were reviewing them at that point.
Right. I'm saying. This is value. So I'm just throwing it out there.
I think you get what you pay for here, and I'm giving it a 1. Elliott, out of 2, where's your value on this one?
I gotta think I'm pretty high on the value because it's a single barrel pick, and because of the proof, and because, like you said, it's fairly available in this day and age. I can't compare a non-single barrel pick to a single barrel pick and give them equal value based on everything else. This is a good value for a single barrel pick of that proof and that, kind of unique kind of bottle. So I was at 175 just because I think for the price point of a single barrel pick, it's a good value. You're not going to, like you said, you can find bottles at $50 all the time that are just regular production line.
That's right.
So I bumped it up because of the single barrel pick factor.
Bringing our final scores to Ben with a 7.5. That's one of your highest, Ben's.
Yeah,
it's
a good bottle. It's a good bottle.
It's not the highest. You had Smoke Wagon small batch a little higher. Ben with a 7.5, Brendan with a 6.75, and myself and Elliott both with 6.25. bringing our composite to 6.6875 or 6.9. Nice.
Nice.
Got him.
Our composite score for this. So it doesn't make the board, right, Brendan? But that's still a really good.
Really? Wow.
6.9 is really good.
Russell's Reserve at 7.1, probably the value, and Ben went above a 2 on the value.
Yeah, I know. I took that one off. That was first episode. Yeah, it happens.
Gave that one a 2.5, and that's
well, you never know.
So, all right, cool. So we ask this a lot. I mean, I feel like we're all going to say yes to this, but anybody have any thoughts on should this be in everybody's collection? Should people go out and get this? Is this something that people should seek out, or what are your thoughts?
I'll jump in.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so Elliott is completely right on this. For a barrel pick at $60 to $65, the value here is great. It's great. So if you can go and find this for a store pick, I would pick it up. If you're just going to go buy one off the shelf regularly, I don't know. A store pick, though, there's a lot of value in that. I like supporting local guys, and so let you tell a story around the bottle. So store pick, yes. Regular bottle, probably not.
Not so much. Elliott, what do you think?
I think you should have a bottle on your shelf if you can get a store pick of it for sure. I think one of the most fun about store picks is you don't really know if you're going to land like the best bottle of your life versus, a good bottle. Mm-hmm. But it's got enough promise that if you see a store that's not a major, like ABC, there's some question about their store picks, but if you have a local store that you trust the guys, I would definitely pick one up, and I'd say yes, you should have it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Brendan, I don't know if you have any other thoughts, but yeah, like on your local guys that do different stuff. Yeah, I'm good with it, but I'm not opposed to just the regular one either. Like Brendan said, you can find that around town at times at like $50, and that's a single barrel as well. It wasn't a store pick, but you could get pretty lucky with one of those as well. So,
I would say the only thing I would add to that, and go ahead, Elliott.
No, I just go ahead and I'll follow up because mine's a little off topic. But
okay, so the only thing I would say, just real quick, with pricing this and what you're getting for this high proof bourbon, I'm with all three of you guys. Like where I think if you get a store pick of it in like $65 range, yeah, that's worth the roll of the dice for sure. Just on the shelf regularly, like at $50, $55, I'd rather spend a few bucks extra and get 1920 if I can find that and if that's readily available, or rare breed. If you're able to get Smoke Wagon uncut, unfiltered, and even go up to like 75, 80 on secondary, I'd rather spend a little bit more for that hotter stuff than this. I would reach for those before. That being said, the store pick of these are nice and are certainly worth exploring. Back to you, Elliott.
And I just wanted to follow up what you guys were saying, talking about the store picks for your smaller independent stores. If they don't move the bottles, you see less store picks. So if you're going to take a chance, do it, because it just ends up being that the store picks go away. If they end up sitting on, 100 bottles out of a 280 bottle run or something, they're less likely to do it in the future, So I'm not so worried about the total wines and the ABCs, but your locals, they're putting it, they're taking a pretty big chance and investment in the store pick. And if you're on the fence, do it, help them and keep the store picks coming.
Yep.
Yeah, no, we've talked about that. We talked about picking up an Eagle Rare store pick from a local place here that was a little bit more than you could find Eagle Rare for certain places, but I mean, it helps out that local store. The store pick is better than just kind of like the standard Eagle Rare that I have. So yeah, it's a great point for sure. All right, cool. Well, this was fun to review this. It's always fun to have a guest on with it. If you didn't check out the first part of this episode where we talk about all things Wild Turkey, replace a bourbon and then get into some pursuits and purchases, go check that out. It's Bourbon on a Budget on all social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Brendan's over there running a TikTok, YouTube, iTunes, all the above. Go check out Bourbon on a Budget. Elliott, thanks for hanging out again for the second part of this.
Thank you.
We will see you guys next week. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Cheers.